Hello all and welcome to another review of mine. Today I'm going to review this BPDi8 breakfast menu from the Czech military. So as you can see from the packaging, this is a breakfast ration, so this is for 4 hours. I really like the packaging on these Czech rations. They're very straightforward and you can very quickly see what you have. Now normally Czech rations will come with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then 2 packs, a PPC and a PPD. And those supplementary packs contain some extra accessories, as well as some extra protein and drinks. And I'm just going to review the breakfast today, which as a main sort of has ham foam, which I presume is some sort of pate. So let's see what that's all about. The expiration date of the ration is the 31st of March 2027. So actually it is still in date by 1 day. And also I am recording this on a new camera, the Panasonic S1R2. Today I'm actually going to use the all-eye 4K option in 60p. So let me know if that's any good. Also recording this during the day, so the lighting is a little bit white, but let's see. I hope that will be okay. And perhaps finally, I've been trying to get a full set of these Czech rations. But even in Czechia, they're not that easy to find, especially not in the capital. So I will try to do a full breakfast, lunch, dinner, plus the supplementary packs at one point to show you what a 24-hour Czech ration would look like. Spoiler alert, it would contain a lot of crisp bread, but I can't find them even though I'm actually in Czechia. So I will try to do that later. This is what we have, so let's try and open it up and see what we get. And the bag is easily openable and it has a ziplock here, so you can actually reclose the bag if you want to. So very convenient. And I also really like that they give them to you individually rather than just one big pack, because, you know, now you can mix and match as well. And you can trade probably as well easily. But this is how that looks like. It's actually a relatively substantial pack for a breakfast ration. And let's see what we get. Now, first up, we have 2 hot drinks. Actually, first up, we have our accessory pack. Here you go. It comes with, I think, 2 hot drinks. But it has a wooden cutlery set, a toothpick, black tea, a coffee, another sugar, and a wet wipe. So that's actually a pretty substantial accessory pack for such a small ration. And I really appreciate that the fact that they put in 2 hot drinks, because actually some of these rations, they don't put any hot drinks in, especially for breakfast. I think it's really important for most people to just get their, to get their caffeine in. And then we got a pretty interesting pack. This is a spicy vegetable salad. Main ingredients are celery and corn. This has a best before date of July 2027. So interesting, especially for breakfast, to just have a big old salad. Now we also get a bar of dark chocolate. I like the packaging on these, quite stylish actually. Then we have a pretty large instant drink. You get 40 grams of that. It is fruit flavored, so but pretty substantial. So we have 3 drinks in this ration so far. Then we have our interesting. Our ham mousse, sunkova penna. And this is, again, this is not a can. I presume these were cans, but this is also just a retort pouch. Best before date is also July 2027. So still in date. But yeah, like I really like the packaging on these. It also comes with like a little bit of a gusset so it can stand on its own. So pretty cool. And then we have our infamous crisp bread. Now, they have a lot of different varieties of crisp bread in these Czech rations. Some of them are fit, some of them are rye, some of them are corn. Basically, as any type of cereal you can imagine, they have a crisp bread for it. These are bio-protein. So this is with vegetable protein, I believe. And the main ingredient is actually lentil flour. That is pretty cool, actually. So it is a lentil crisp bread. Quite excited about that one. I don't think I've had that one, but I like lentils. This is what we have. This is actually a very substantial breakfast, in my opinion. Now, first up, I'm gonna make our drinks. So we are making our teas and our coffee first, because they need to steep / dissolve. Here we have our Veltia tea, just regular black tea. Let's make our tea. I like my tea and my coffee pretty strong, so there we go there. And then we got 2 grams of this kava / coffee. Here we have that. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water to that. I think Doesn't actually say how much water. Yeah, I'm just gonna add something like this. Perhaps we need to stir coffee a little bit. So let's take our wooden cutlery here. You even get a napkin with it as well. So this is what's in there. And you get a full set of wooden cutlery. Isn't that cool? Pretty good, right? But pretty interesting that you get a full set of cutlery. I've not seen that, I think, in any Russian so far. You get a spork at best. But yeah, pretty fun. So this actually would make a whole liter. I'm gonna do half a liter and then see how that tastes like. So I used about half of the powder for stir this a little bit. There it is, mixed up. I might need to add the full thing if it doesn't hydrate that properly. And then, yeah, what we have next. So I think the main actually is the spicy vegetable salad. So we get 210 grams of that. Opens nicely. It's very substantial packaging. I don't think you'd puncture this anyhow. And oh wow, what is this? Definitely smells like, ooh, I don't know if you can see that, but that doesn't look super appetizing. It's celery, but it's the white celery that they have here. It smells sour, and it actually smells a little bit like cereal. I don't know if that's still right. Actually, what makes this spicy is that there's some pepperoni in there. Pepperoni pepper. So let's just put this in there. I got some in there. So that's how that looks like. I don't know if it looks very appetizing. It's mostly actually just corn and shredded white celery. Doesn't smell that nice, to be very honest. So, All right, and then let's try our ham mousse. So, interesting. I've seen pâtés, I've seen luncheon meat. I don't really know what makes ham mousse. That's how that looks like. It looks like a little bit of lard. You can see some of the congealed fat. Smells good. Smells just like ham, like processed ham. Looks a little bit like cat food, I guess. And it just comes out as a log, so it's more of a ham log than mousse. But yeah, that's how that looks like. The main ingredient here is actually smoked meat. So it does look, and it has the consistency of a pâté. Or let's open up our crisp bread, the protein crisp bread. It's protein because it's made out of lentils mostly. Oh, cool. They definitely look different than other crisp breads. So they look almost like they have a little bit of a curry flavor. There's a little bit of a greenish hue to them. They sort of have the texture of vegetable crisps. A very mild smell, so they're not super, spiced, I think, but very interesting. And then finally, we have our dark chocolate. We got, I think, 25 grams of this. This is pretty decent chocolate in general. And also in the PPD PPCs, you get some extra chocolate. So this is not all of the chocolates most of the soldiers will get. They'll get like a few extra bars during the day mostly. So anyhow, that's it. I think for breakfast, that's pretty substantial. Also because we still have 3 drinks basically. I already have the spoon in the ham mousse because I was trying to break it up. But I'll try the salad first because I had a little bit of it. Here you can see it. So it's just basically grated celery and some corn. It's actually kind of spicy. There is some spice to this, so they weren't lying when they said spicy vegetable. There's also something I can't really place. There is something that tastes a little bit cereally in this. And I looked at the ingredients. As far as I understand, checked, it should not have any sort of cereal in there. It's not really up to my liking. I think it's edible, and it's surprisingly spicy actually, especially considering this is a Czech dish. And not a huge amount of Czech food is spicy, so actually cool that there is some spice to it. Let's try this with some of the crisp bread. Actually, before I do that, let's try some of the crisp bread on its own. Yeah, that's a really interesting texture. It's very crispy. That's definitely good crisp bread. There's not a strong flavor. There's a hint of a little bit of that lentil nuttiness. There's also some very light spices in there, but it's not like heavy curry spices. There's also a little bit of black pepper, I think. But let's see how it holds up with some actual spice. I'm just gonna put this on the crisp bread, sort of make a salad sandwich. Here we go. And that actually works a lot better. There's a little bit of liquid in there, so it helps with the, dry crisp bread. It takes away a little bit of the weird cereally taste that I found. I think the crisp bread sort of overpowers that. So that's not a bad combination. I definitely would eat it like that. Anyhow, before we go anywhere else, let's wash it away with some of the fruit drink, the isotonic fruit drink. This definitely can use more of the actual fruit drink also didn't dissolve fully, so I'm just gonna add the rest of the bag and refill it. Actually, for as much sugar as there should be in, I would have expected this to be way sweeter. It's yeah, basically flavored water. It's not like, doesn't really have any discernible taste, so that's you know, a bit of a shame. But now I guess for the main dew or the main component, we are going to the ham mousse. It actually is just sort of a pate in a pouch, kind of interesting. I've never really heard about this outside of the ration, so I don't know if this is a Czech thing or not. I don't think so. Yeah, as you can see, it's a little bit fluffed up like pate, so let's try it on its own. But also importantly, there's no liver in this, so this is just smoked meat with some fillers. So yeah, let's see how that tastes like. And that's actually very pleasant. And the texture is really nice. It's a little bit fluffy. There's a good salty, also smoky flavor. There's zero liveriness or offal type of taste to it. So I think that's a really good spread. Let's you know, put it on some of the crisp bread. You get quite a lot of the pate as well, right? So you can definitely make a few decent crisp breads. So here is our ham foam bio protein crisp bread. That's a mouthful, but let's try it. Yeah, and that is a solid combination. I can't say anything else about it. Both are pretty salty. I really like the lentil crisp bread actually, and the spread is just really good. It's a very mild smoked flavor. I guess the only thing we can do extra is to put some of the salad on the crisp bread. So let's try this combination. I don't think that's great, simply because the salad overpowered the ham mousse. I'm not a massive fan of the salad. Ham mousse is pretty great though. Let's have our hot drinks. So here we have our tea. I like it very strong. So yeah, it's just black tea. It's not Earl Grey tea, so there's no bergamot or something in there. I guess you could put some sugar in there. And here we have a coffee, like sort of espresso strength coffee. Let's try that. It's a little bit bitter, not super smooth, but definitely will wake you up. It's freeze-dried coffee in the end, and you do have the sugars as well if you like it less bitter. And then we have our chocolate. I don't know if this is Bloom or I spilled something on it, but yeah, there's some stains on there. Anyhow, I guess it's just water that I spilled, possibly. So yeah, here we have our chocolate, and let's try. So yeah, the chocolate is okay. It's like a little bit like more like military chocolate than like commercial chocolate. And by that I mean there's a little bit of a texture difference and also a little bit of taste difference. Not like the highest quality chocolate you can get in a ration. But still, it is chocolate and it is the only sort of sweet thing in this ration. So that is it for this ration. You know, spicy salad with ham mousse for breakfast is an interesting combination. So overall, I enjoyed this ration. Also really just fun to see that the Czech rations has some really strange sort of breakfast options like tuna, the normal potted meat, double portions of porridge, these kind of things. That is it for this ration. I think my next ration is gonna be a vegetarian 24-hour German ration, or a German ration that's 24 hours. I think it is vegetarian. Anyhow, that was it for this video. So thank you so much for watching and see you next time.